On the evening of February 11th, the third day of the Lunar New Year, 1986, just as I was sitting in meditation after the evening lesson, I suddenly saw circles of golden light, and a Bodhisattva appeared, with a solemn Dharma appearance, his whole body emanating golden light, and a large golden halo on his head. But he has no decoration all over his body, very plain, with a big Bodhi rosary hanging on his chest. He smiled at me kindly and gently, but I didn't know who he was. I hastily bowed down and asked, "Please forgive me for my blindness and ignorance. Which Bodhisattva are you here?" He smiled slightly and didn't answer right away. I looked at his portrait carefully, and I found that he was a very thin elderly man, about 90 or 100 years old. But the face didn't seem so old, he seemed to be only in his 60 or 70, quite handsome. The nose was quite high and long, and the root were almost not sunken at all, somewhat like the nose shape of the Greeks. The chin was very long, and a little turned outward. Both eyes were shining with highly wise brightness. The ears are long and large, and the head was shaved. The bubbles under the eyes were big and drooping, and the philtrum was deep. There were a lot of eyebrows, some of them were especially long and white. And he had a fruity aroma, a bit like the scent of orange blossoms. Who was this? With such a solemn and peaceful Dharma appearance, he was clearly a Bodhisattva, also with the form of an Arhat. Who was this? I was so respectful and delighted at the sight of him. I had never seen this Bodhisattva before and I couldn't guess who he was. I knew that he was not my illusion, he was indeed in front of me. I knew I'm not dreaming, because I still heard the distant sound of trains and cars running outside. The nightly cries of robins in the trees in the back garden were also audible. I was very baffled and asked the Bodhisattva's Dharma name again. He smiled faintly, his lips moved slightly. "I am Kuang. He spoke Taiwanese, not Mandarin. I used to understand Taiwanese and speak a little. Before going abroad for more than 20 years, I was able to speak fluent Taiwanese when I was young in Taiwan, but I have forgotten 80% of it. However, I can still understand basic Taiwanese, but it takes me more effort to understand what others say." But this time, when the elderly monk spoke, I understood it, although his accent seemed a bit different from other Taiwanese. "Ah! You are Venerable Master Kuang," I cried out. I was surprised and happy, and I bowed down with infinite joy. "Venerable Master, how did you come here?" "I come when I'm ready." He smiled. "Didn't you wish to see me one day? I'm here to fulfill your wish." "Ah! Yes. Yes. Master," I rejoiced beyond description. "I've admired you for a long time, but never had a chance to meet you. I'm so glad to see you tonight. You are a good boy," he said. "Promote the Dharma more. You have done nothing wrong. Do not be afraid of slander." "Master," I shouted, "you have become a Bodhisattva, that's great. Everyone can become a Bodhisattva." He smiled. "It's nothing, it's just come and go, nothing but a vow." "So you are going now?" I couldn't help but feel a little sad. "Go and come again," he said, "go and come right away. Do you have any Dharma oracle?" "No." He shook his head and smiled. "No. Please enlighten me more, Master." "No." With a smile, his body gradually melted, and the golden light slowly dissipated. "There is nothing originally." At the last moment of his disappearance, the golden light suddenly faded away, and thousands of relics instantly showed up and irradiated colorful light, that was extremely crystal and solemn. Soon, all the brightness disappeared. In front of my eyes, it was still a quiet and dark room, the sky was slightly bright outside the window, and the robins sang intermittently. I knew it was not a dream, absolutely not. I got up early to do morning lessons. My mother also got up in the next room and was reciting sutras. That day I told my mother, "The 94-year-old monk Kuang in Taiwan came to me last night. It seems that he has passed away or is about to pass away. He seems to want me to pass something. Probably it is for me to tell the world that sentence, there is nothing originally, or let me see thousands of relics shining on his body. Every day, there was an endless stream of Buddhist friends coming to my house to celebrate the Lunar New Year. I told them what I saw in my meditation, and everyone was amazed and said, Venerable monk Kuang Chen must have passed away. One of the guests was a devout Buddhist, Mrs. L, an Indonesian Chinese who had the honor of converting to monk Kuang Chen. Before the Lunar New Year, she came to see me at my house, saying that she would return to Taiwan to pay homage to various famous Buddhist temples and asking if I had any mission in particular for her. You are a disciple of Venerable monk Kuang Chen, I said at the time. You may approach him more. He is about to pass away, and you may not see him again when you go to Taiwan next time. Everyone in the room was shocked and asked, Layman Faun, do you foresee that the elder Kuang will pass away? When? He has been 94 years old, I said. No one can predict when he will pass away. I am just speculating casually and dare not claim to foresee. Everyone agreed with my point of view except someone who said, Venerable monk Zun passed away when he was 120 years old, maybe elder Kuang will also be 100 years old. I hope so. I said, however, I feel that elder Kuang is about to end his fate with this world. I speculate that it will happen in the first half of 1986, or in the spring. Everyone said, I hope you don't see it accurately this time. Mrs. L went back to Taiwan to worship Buddha. As per my advice, she went to worship Elder Kuang. Moreover, she was so fortunate that she was able to follow him for 10 days with all the disciples. She came to see me immediately when she returned to Canada. On the 4th day of the Lunar New Year, she was also in the party. She said, Master is in a good spirit, and he is very compassionate. You said he would pass away. I'm afraid you were wrong. I'm not sure whether I can foresee it right or not. I said, I hope I didn't foresee it right. I wish Elder Kuang would continue to lead us and live to be over 100 years old as Elder Shu did. However, what I saw last night, I am afraid it is not an auspicious omen. Perhaps by this time, Elder Kuang has. Ah, I shrieked, he has passed away. What? Everyone screamed in surprise. What? About 3 or 4 hours ago, he passed away. I said, you write down the time. It's February 12, 1986, the 4th day of the first month of the lunar calendar, 11:15 a.m. It should be a little after 2 a.m. on the 5th day of the first month in Taiwan. I saw Elder Kuang passed away, and his whole body was covered with shining relics. People in the room were gradually silent, some whispering and sobbing. You must have seen it wrong. Someone said, Peter, you must have seen it wrong. I hope I've seen it wrong. I felt sad. Let's wait a day or two and see, someone said, or we can make a long-distance call to Kaohsiung to ask. That's not a good idea, someone said. To call and ask if the elderly monk is dead is not nice. Just wait a few days and see if there is any news from Taiwan. On the evening of the 6th day, at 7 p.m., my phone rang, and the voice of the switchboard lady in Taipei, Get Mr. Faun on the phone. Speaking, I tensed up. I know, it's Mr. Yunpeng Li, please put through the phone. When I opened mouth, I called out, Mr. Li. Exactly, it was Mr. Li, who said from the Taipei side, I'm Yunpeng Li. You know the Venerable monk Kuang Chen. Li brought up Elder Kuang, and before the sentence was finished, I knew it was confirmed. I already knew it, I snatched. Elder Kuang has passed away yesterday. Before he passed away, his Dharma body came out of the divine power and came over to manifest. His whole body shone with golden glow, the relics emitted light. Elder Kuang has passed away yesterday, on the 5th day. Mr. Li said, may I ask you, does he have relics? Elder Kuang has many relics. Thousands of colorful, light-emitting wands. I replied, many, many. But tell them to handle them carefully when cremating it. With these few words from you, I'm relieved now, and I will notify them. Mr. Li, don't be sad for Elder Kuang, I said, he has entered eternity. He is in a higher state of the universe, he has attained enlightenment. I should be happy for him. Mr. Lee said. We should all be happy for him. Elder Kuang has become a Bodhisattva. Why do we not rejoice, but mourn and weep? Our physical body will eventually be materialized. However, like Elder Kuang, he has transcended mortality into sainthood. He has entered nirvana, has attained tathata, thusness, and is living forever alongside the almighty Buddhas of the universe. What's more, he will come back to help the world again according to his wish. We should rejoice. I have never met Elder Kuang, not even seen a photo of him. This time that I saw him in meditation was the only once. When I described his appearance, his disciples or re-disciples who were present said that I was talking about Elder Kuang. Hearing this, everyone turned sorrow into joy, and chanted Buddha non-stop. Since Elder Kuang was a stranger to me, and I was not blessed to be his disciple, why did he show himself to me? It seems unreasonable. Maybe it's because he has a deep vow with universal compassion, and he doesn't abandon me, such a mischievous person? I am sure I am not the only one who has seen his Dharma body appear. Many others might have dreamed of him or seen his golden Dharma body appear in their meditation. I believe that the grace of this venerable man's Dharma would be as universal as rain. Some people say that perhaps because I often hear people talk about him. When I often think of it during day, I dream of it at night. In addition, I used to admire Elder Kuang so that I had an illusion. Whether it is illusion or reality, illusion is also truth, and truth is also illusion. This is my opinion. I heard the latest news. After the body of Elder Kuang was cremated, there were indeed thousands of colorful relics. Let's devote ourselves to practice. Be more mindful of Buddhas. Namo Amitabha.